you guys ready? I'm not going to tell you everything because I have a feeling I might come back and tell you more. Because I'm reading these to the second graders. Do you know why I'm reading them to the second graders? Because they get to go back in time when they're a second grader in May at the end of school year, and they get to go out to an old schoolhouse and be able to have school back in the 1930s and the 1940s. So I'm getting them prepared to what it was like back then. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about something. Are you guys all right with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I would like to see listening ears, and then I have a treat for you guys after. All right.
Crisscross
All right.
applesauce, sit smart, please.
My mother and dad had a family of 9 children, 3 sons and 6 daughters. Their names were Emil, Joanna, Lydia, Edward, Martha, Barbara, which is the lady that I was showing you the picture of, Adele, Mary Lou, and last but not least, Alois Jr. Are those names that are familiar nowadays? Not really. Okay. My room, when Barbara was 6 years old,
Glenda.
she had a room upstairs and had 2 beds in it. So I shared a room with my sisters, Johanna, Adele, and Mary Lou. We were in the corner of the house, so we could look out from the big barn, the old barn, and the granary, and the hen house. What's the hen house? You guys know?
Chicken.
You're right. That was called the chicken house, the chicken coop. They called it the hen house. Yeah. And they had other small buildings. So guess what? When the girls had to go to bed, they would love to go to bed because they would peek out their cracks of their house and they would watch the farm. Their brothers would be milking cows or be helping pitching hay. So they would always be watching.
You want to go shut the door, please?
I remember when Mother would varnish the stairway. Do you know what varnishing is? No? You don't know what varnishing is? You know how your mom might dust the table off or maybe dust the shelves off? Or maybe about your deck. You guys would sometimes stain it. Your mom and dad would make it look nice. They would varnish it. But you know what? Back in the olden days, it did not dry very fast. So listen to what they had to do.
Thank you, sweetie. Sorry.
They would, Mommy was so proud of the way it looked, she would varnish it every 3 to 4 years to keep it looking good. Varnish at that time was not fast drying, so we could not use the stairs for a couple of days. So guess what? The children loved this. Dad, since they couldn't use the stairs, their dad would set up a ladder next to their porch. And all the 9 kids had to climb up the ladder, get onto the porch, and then they would have to go on the roof and then climb into their upstairs windows to get into their bedrooms.
Wouldn't that be a fun way to go into the house?
Yeah.
Do you think your mom and dad would let you do that nowadays?
No.
I
What
know.
about if there was snow on the roof and it was slippery? How do you think they got in there then?
What?
What do you think, Ryan? Do you think they still had to go that way?
No, do you think she wouldn't varnish the stairways in the wintertime?
Good thinking.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it then. She would make sure she does it in the summertime. All right, so that was something fun that they would do. When I think back, I realize us little kids really used our imaginations. What is that big word, imagination? Yeah,
It means make toys and stuff.
yes. And they didn't have toys. They maybe had some dolls, but they didn't have Legos. They didn't have jets. They didn't have airplanes. What?
We have Legos.
Yeah, you do. But do you think my grandma did back in the olden days? No, so they had to use their imagination. Do you want me to tell you some things that they would do?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes you guys would do some of these. Here they go. Well, when I think back, my dad would sometimes clean out the corn bin. The boys had to get the corn out of the corn crib. When they did, we would get our brooms, and my sisters and I would sweep out one side of the crib and play house. We would divide it in half, and we would drag all of our boxes, our dolls, toy dishes, and stuff out there. My sister Mary Lou always helped too, but Martha was a little bit older and she'd come to visit. Mary Lou always helped out too. We